What's up, house groups? If you're anything like me, when you were growing up, you read the Christmas story and you got a little confused by this one part of it. Because at the very beginning, it says that Mary and Joseph had to go to Bethlehem because Caesar Augustus Octavian ordered a census of the entire Roman world. And then just a few short verses later, we read about King Herod trying to kill Jesus. And I always wondered, how in the world was Herod king if Caesar Augustus was ruling everything? It feels like Rome would have conquered that. There can't be two kings, can there? And maybe you know the answer to this, or maybe you've never wondered it, but Rome definitely did conquer it. Back in ancient times, it kind of worked out like this. The hegemonic power of the day, whether it was Assyria or Persia or Rome or Greece, would conquer lands, but because it was hard to communicate and hard to move your army really fast, what they would let their conquered lands do pretty frequently is become vassal states, and they'd set up what's known as a suzerain vassal relationship. And so the superpower, Caesar and Caesar Augustus were the suzerain. Rome was in control, and then they would allow regional kings who had their own people groups, their own little areas that they were in control of, to maintain a little bit of power and a little bit of self-autonomy and governance if they would pay them a really, really, really heavy tax. And so guys like King Herod paid a whole lot of money to Rome, one, for protection, so that if they got attacked, Rome would come and defend them, no, you belong to us, we'll defend you, and two, so that they could, remain king and have a little bit of power. And I talked on Sunday morning about how, way back, 750 years before Jesus was born, Ahaz was the king of Judah, and Isaiah 7 talks about this point when Judah's going to be attacked by a couple nations, and Ahaz is really, really afraid. And God makes this promise to Ahaz: I am with you, I will protect you. But Ahaz has this moment where he isn't sure that he believes God is who God says that he is, and so he basically offers the nation of Judah to the Assyrians as a vassal state. He says, if you'll be the suzerain, I'll be the vassal, and he offers a whole bunch of money to Assyria to come in and protect him and allow him to still kind of be king and kind of govern everything. And he basically, because he's overcome by fear, gets to this point where he believes that Assyria can be something that God cannot. And he chooses Assyria as his suzerain rather than choosing God as his sovereign. And I kind of want to lean into that tonight, because I'm convinced and convicted that we do that exact same thing. That there are all kinds of places in our lives, all kinds of moments where we have doubt inside us that God really is who God says that he is, and so we put our hope in other places and other things. I just got back from a week in Haiti. Jeff and I spent the last week there working with Worldwide Village. It's this group that our church and our team, our Haiti team, is going to work with in February. Really, really, really cool and heartbreaking at the same time. Because we walked by all these places where there were voodoo monuments and voodoo temples set up. And Haiti's a really interesting nation. Almost 3 in 4 people are Catholic, 95% of the nation is Christian, but almost 60% of the people in Haiti regularly practice voodoo. And over 50% of Catholic priests in Haiti also double as voodoo priests by some people's measures. In fact, they call God Bon Dieu. It means good God. And they call God Bon Dieu not just because it's a beautiful way of talking about how God is good, but because they believe that there is good God, but there's also bad God and bad God and bad God and bad God. And so, good God died to save us when Jesus came, but if you don't sacrifice the right goat or bring the right offering or bring the right amount of money to the voodoo priest or the witch doctor, then all these little bad gods will get you. It's fear-based. Voodoo is a fear-based belief system that causes these people who are broke, just impoverished, to spend what little money they have trying to placate these angry gods from cursing them and from making their lives terrible. I loathe it. It enrages me to see, because people are being lied to and taken advantage of because of their fear. Just fear causes them to be imprisoned by this belief in voodoo, and I think it's easy for us in the West, like in our Enlightenment mindset, to look at that and laugh and say, oh, those silly Haitians, like, oh, they just, we're so much more advanced than that. We would never, if our kid gets sick, go pay a witch doctor to make our kid better. We know better than that. And my question is, do we? Like, sure, we know better than being so afraid of all these little bad gods that we feel like if we don't sacrifice a goat in the backyard, our house might burn down tomorrow. But do we know better than letting our fear overcome our faith to the point where we believe something else can be what God cannot? I don't know that we do. Because I take a look at my own life, and I take a look at the lives of the people in this church, the lives of the people in this city, and all around me, and I think there are a whole lot of things in our lives that compete for God's place, that compete for our hope, that compete for our trust. I think it's really, really easy for us to have some bit of doubt that lives inside of us, that God really is who God says He is, and to let our hope migrate away from God to something else, to our money. And we don't really believe that God will truly, fully provide, that He is who He says that He is, that He's with us there. And so, we do the Christian voodoo thing. It's just Christian materialism thing. Like, I trust you, God, but my real hope is in my 401k. My real hope is in my bank account. Or we put our faith in relationships, or power, or sex, or all kinds of things that our world tempts us into because we somehow, somewhere are so afraid in this broken, messed up world that maybe God won't be who God says He is, that we sell out our souls for what we see as a little bit of protection and a little bit of security. And the great thing about Christmas, the great message of Christmas is, one, that God is who God says that He is, and two, that we don't have to put our faith in any of these things that will ultimately let us down. We don't have to allow our hope to be in one of these worldly things that's going to crumble, that our hope and our faith are secure in the God who is with us. Emmanuel, God with us, the God who was with us from the very beginning of time, was with Adam and Eve, who's woven that thread of being present with His people from the very beginning to the very end, the God who came to be with us, the God who refused to abandon us to our sin, but gave His life to reconcile us. God with us changes everything. Everything. And if we can really believe that He's with us, if we can know that we know that we know that God is with us now, that we can stop putting our hope in the failed things of this world, and we can start sharing the real hope that our world is absolutely thirsty for and dying for, the hope that the God of the universe, the creator of all things, is with us, and nothing can separate us from His love. That's a hope worth sharing this Christmas.